You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
It's time to journey back. Let's go back to Gotham City. I mean, would you even want to leave a place like that? If this theme park that we're describing actually existed, you wouldn't want to go in. You'd want to find a place in the park and curl up and live there. There it is. I would be a bum in Gotham City. You know, at the beginning of the Tim Burton Batman movie, there's those bums living on the roof. That would be me. I'd be like just living on the roof of the Batman theme park. Sir, it's time to go. No. You don't understand. I live here. Because what they were proposing way back then, and this is the early 90s, what they were proposing was something on the level of the Harry Potter experience. And the Harry Potter experience broke all kinds of barriers as far as immersiveness and how you feel like you're in Hogsmeade and you're going there and everybody's in character and the merchandise is in character and the food is in character. And while not as immersive as that, because Batman doesn't have bat cookies and stuff the way Harry Potter does, this is as close as they were ever going to get. And I know it's almost cruel to be delving into it and going behind the scenes of what they were going to make, because they never did, and it doesn't exist, and we can't go and we can't hop on a plane and find ourselves in Gotham City, and it's a real crime. But at least like ancient travelers, they left behind a roadmap of where they were going. So continuing on, again, you can find these articles at blastoffcomics.com. It's run by an amazing comics writer named Scott Tipton, who he's known as the Professor, and he knows everything about comics. The way I am about movies, he is 10 times that in the comic book realm. There's also a Blast Off Comics podcast, so if you like what you see over there, subscribe to his podcast and learn more about comics than you probably ever thought you needed to know, because he knows everything. One of the smartest, most talented guys I have ever known. Writes comics. He wrote a comic, Star Trek meets the Planet of the Apes, and came up with the term the Primate Directive. I mean, that's genius. Oh my God, that's hysterical. He has comics published all the time. He's very prolific. He collects comic art. He's just a really cool guy. And years back, he commissioned me to write these articles for him. So we're going to continue our journey into the Batman theme park that never was. These are published on Blast Off Comics as No Batman is an Island. And now we continue. Welcome back to our continuing tour of the never-before-seen Batman theme park proposal for Universal's Islands of Adventure. It's been a long day, filled with a walk of the park, dining, and even a little shopping. We've seen the Caped Crusader represented in a theme park like never before, with fully themed streets, buildings, villain shops, and superhero eateries. But we've only just begun to discover the true wonders of this place. It's time to stop wandering around and hit some rides. Put your hat and keys into a locker. You don't want to lose them. Check your height and try to keep up as we hit the ground running with some of the most unbelievable ride concepts you've never seen. Welcome to Gotham City. You're really going to like it here. First up is the Joker's House of Mirrors, a walkthrough attraction that's exactly what it sounds like. A traditional House of Mirrors like you'd find at the local carnival. The difference here is that the Joker's version will have state-of-the-art technology that puts the clown prince of crime himself into the very mirrors. Yes, you'll have to find your way out of this mirror-filled nightmare while the Joker taunts you at every turn. Make a wrong move, and air jets in the floor and ceiling will blast you. This is one of the earlier attraction ideas, and it didn't make it very far into the process. When the final proposal gets narrowed down, the Hall of Mirrors concept won't make it. Next is the generically titled Superhero Training Camp, where every guest in the park can test their mettle and emerge a superhero. The materials on this one are pretty vague, but from what I can decipher, it was to be a playground of sorts with obstacles and climbing equipment themed around DC characters. The closest attraction at a real theme park would be the forest-themed playground Redwood Creek Challenge Trail at Disney's California Adventure. But since that park was built on the cheap, it's doubtful this superhero version would have been a go-to concept in the Sky's the Limit Islands of Adventure project. To further add mystery to the superhero training camp proposal, it's supposed to be located in a place called Adventure Island that isn't mentioned anywhere else. Just around the corner is the Big Top ride. Made to look like a circus tent, this ride is a redressed spin-out type where the room spins and the floor drops out. Hopefully, the designers had something a bit more elaborate in mind, as this seems very cheap for such a great themed park. More intriguing as a redressed carnival ride is the Joker's Merry-Go-Round that finds guests strapped onto distorted and grotesque animals. As the ride gets going, the top of the carousel lifts up, and the animals actually lift riders to a height of 4 stories before plunging back down. This goes on and on until the ride comes to a full and complete stop. Now this is more like it. A traditional carnival ride redressed to an appropriate theme with just the right amount of darkness that the Batman theme demands. If the ride operator stops the attraction with a well-timed spray of Bat Carousel reversal spray, then I'll have to ride twice. Centrally located, you'll find the Joker's Funhouse, another variation of a typical carnival ride. This attraction is based on the popular Wild Mouse or Crazy Mouse roller coaster concept, a small roller coaster car that makes hairpin turns. The Joker version would have had guests enter through the Madman's face, and, after twisting and turning in the dark, emerge on the second story from one of his eyes, and then dart right back through the other one. Fog and lighting would have enhanced the ride as well. This is yet another concept that didn't make it far in the process. It's another generic carnival ride dressed up with a Joker overlay, and it seems pretty cheap. Let's not forget that Islands of Adventure was a milestone in theme park designing, with intricate theming and Disney or higher quality rides. This off-the-shelf ride concept would have been a major disappointment. Again, for historical evidence, simply look to Disney's California Adventure, where their Mulholland Madness is a redressed Crazy Mouse, and the line is never more than a few minutes long. Editor's note, this has now been redressed to Goofy's Flight School, and the line is never more than a few minutes long. There's another proposal to make the Joker's Funhouse a walk-through attraction, and perhaps that would have yielded better results. That attraction would have been filled with traps, and choosing the wrong corridor would send you to certain doom. Hopefully, someone on the design team would have taken a closer look at Alan Moore and Brian Bolland's masterpiece, Batman, The Killing Joke, where Batman's arch-nemesis takes Commissioner Gordon on an insane journey through a funhouse. This particular comic book is featured on a page of Batman artwork as inspiration for the project. Another note in the proposal page intimates that the attraction was beefed up with input from Spielberg in regards to the Wild Mouse finale, which indicates that Steven Spielberg himself offered some insight on how to make this proposal the best it could be. But hey, that's just me reading what I want into it. It's spelled incorrectly, so it could just have easily been Senor Spielbergo, fresh from his work with Monty Burns, but let's assume they went to one of the more modern master storytellers, Spielberg himself. Perhaps Mr. Spielberg's input was to combine the walkthrough with a ride-through finale, which would have been pretty cool. The capper to this concept is that once the ride is over, you disembark and exit right into the Joker's Arcade, the perfect place to play some games of chance themed around Batman's enemy and maybe even take home a cute stuffed crime fighter to keep forever. Speaking of games, there's also the Superhero Stadium that features the Justice League games. Step up to the imposing giant ice castle and through the giant doors that lead inside. You've entered a replica of Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Giant ice sculptures and trophies from Superman's exploits dominate the area, along with statues of Superman's parents, Jor-El and Lara. The actual Justice League games are each themed around a particular superhero. For example, the Green Arrow's archery range. Aim for the bullseye using the archer's own personal weapon. You can't miss this game. It's located right next to the bottle city of Kandor. Batman's Batcuff Toss. Situated beneath Brainiac's captured spaceship, this game challenges guests to throw ringed bat cuffs around the outstretched hands of the Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, Bizarro, and of course, Lex Luthor. Flash's Light Game. It's not very imaginative, isn't it? Located right next to the interdimensional transporter to the Phantom Zone, Flash's game pits players against each other as they try to slap a pattern of light squares. The fastest player moves on and wins the prize. Wonder Woman's Golden Lasso Game. Grab hold and pull yourself to the other side to ring the buzzer. I'm not sure about this one. The description is vague. I would guess it's similar to the game at the carnivals where you have to traverse a rickety ladder to ring a bell. It's sometimes called Jacob's Ladder. This, along with the bottle toss, is one of the hardest games on the Midway. Odds are, whatever prize was offered here was reasonably safe and would gather dust before it went home with a guest. The Green Lantern's Power Ring Beam. Try not to get distracted by the full-scale replica of the Supermobile that sits nearby. Instead, focus on actually putting on the Green Lantern's power ring and aim a beam of light at the target to propel your spaceship to the moon. The first player to reach the lunar surface wins. This is similar to the popular carnival games where you aim a stream of water at a target to make it elevate or pop a balloon or something. Games like these are always popular with their loud barking and a winner every time motif. No doubt, putting on Green Lantern's power ring would have been very cool. The Outlaw Kids Quick Draw. Hey, put that gun back in the holster, you cheater. Remember how popular this game was in the early 90s? It featured a full-scale outlaw behind swinging doors, and you put $1 in the machine and waited for the machine to yell, draw, and then pulled a gun. I'm sure this comic-based overlay was popular from a price point. I'm not sure it made the grade, though, when someone was informed that the Outlaw Kid is actually a Marvel Comics character. But I'm sure Scott Tipton would have known that. Aquaman's Undersea Adventure. This is a redressed whack-a-mole game done with aquatic animals. The difference here is that while you're encouraged to hit the shark for points, you'll be deducted points if you hit the dolphin or the seahorses that pop up randomly. This seems like a fun concept. I wonder if the employee would have worn a hook hand like Aquaman did back then. Robin's Skee Ball Alley. Just like regular skee ball, except the playing area is painted to look like the Joker, Lex Luthor, or Catwoman. Yeah, this is stretching a bit, but hey, they're coming up with all these concepts. Zatanna's Magic Booth. Step in and have the alluring conjurer tell your fortune. The notes don't say whether this was an automated machine like the Zoltar one in the movie Big, or if it was something more personal. If it featured a live woman in costume as Zatanna, the line would have been around the block with me at the front, trust me. Plastic Man's Pop-A-Shot. Old Plas has turned himself into a ball, and it's up to you to score as many baskets as you can before time runs out. This is just a basketball game, but if the prize is a basketball that looks like Plastic Man, that would have been very cool. Not everything in Gotham is a redressed carnival ride or a themed game. Buried in this pile of proposals are some truly amazing rides. They're going to make you weak in the knee at the prospect of never being able to ride them. Sure, there's a couple of lightweight proposals like the one simply called Target Practice that has riders on a boat going through a cartoon version of Gotham City squirting water at villains. Eventually, the villains shoot back and drench the riders. There's not much to this one, but it's important to point out that this was in 1992, long before the concept of rider interactivity became the norm at theme park rides. Men in Black, Alien Attack, and Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, and Toy Story's Midway Mania, these are all still in the planning stages at this point, and they won't open for many years down the line. Other concepts that are mentioned with only a single line are the Superman Simulator, that enables you to ride the skies with the Man of Steel, and the Justice League Mind Warp, that beckons you to enter the world of virtual reality and join the fight to save the universe. This is a concept that is actually pretty ahead of its time. It's 1992, and virtual reality being in its infancy stages at the time, Reboot, Virtuosity, and The Matrix are still years away, as is the general public's notion of something called the Internet. Far and away, the most exciting concepts are the ones that are fully fleshed out and they leap off the page. They are Race with the Joker Motion Simulator Ride, Batcar Interactive Adventure Dark Ride Coaster Combination, and the Batjet Adventure Hanging Coaster Dark Ride. Oh my gosh. Come back next time when we'll delve into these concepts and we'll take a ride into what might have been. Same bat time, same bat channel. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Welcome back to Gotham City, where we're finally going to pull back the curtain on what the designers dreamed up for old Batsy back when Universal was planning on going all out for a Batman portion of Islands of Adventure. Keep in mind that these ideas came out of a brainstorming session, and due to the vagueness of the project as a whole, and the fact that designers were given free rein to come up with whatever they wanted, there's bound to be some ideas that weave in and out of the attractions. The designers weren't afraid to move ideas around to better suit the overall project. That being said, the first attraction in the proposal is the blandly titled Batcar Interactive Adventure Ride, which is subtitled as a Dark Ride Coaster Combination. If you go on the Blastoff Comics website, you could actually see pictures, drawings of all of these. And it does show the entire island as a whole and different various shots of what the ride was going to look like, especially for this one. This is, if you're going to the website, this is No Batman is an Island Part 5. If you refer back to the map drawing in the first installment, you actually see this attraction just to the right of the giant Batman cape. It looks to be a fast-paced ride that literally puts you into the driver's seat of the Batcar. Why the designers insist on calling one of the most famous vehicles in pop culture the Batcar is beyond me. Surely these guys are aware that Batman has driven the Batmobile since 1941, and is as much a part of his lexicon as Alfred or the Batcave. If not, they had to be living under a rock to avoid the 1989 Tim Burton film where the car was as famous as the driver. Regardless of the lame attraction name, the ride is an interesting concept of a fast-moving ride combined with an arcade interactive target game. The boat ride we mentioned last time hinted at this technology, but this attraction really puts it to use. Your job as a rider is to assist Batman by searching for traps that the Joker has hidden throughout Gotham City. By hitting the traps, you disarm them and gather points while saving the city. But fire quickly, because some of the targeted elements can sense you approaching and fire defense systems that will sap energy and points from you. The target shooting aspect seems obvious today, but back then it was real cutting-edge stuff. And the added threat of your gun disabling and point loss makes it even more interactive, if a little difficult to play. At the end of your ride, the highest score in the Batcar, Batmobile, wins. Your score is also compared with other players in Gotham City and proudly displayed if you're good enough. This sounds like a really fun ride concept, and the map drawing really makes it look exciting. The entire area would have had a real sense of energy, with guests in Batmobiles zooming around, firing at interactive targets. Surely, this would have also included some indoor dark portions with lighting and special effects and probably fog. Another tantalizing ride concept is Race with the Joker. This is a motion simulator where you board a Batman-themed ride vehicle. This varies between the Batcar and the Batjet, depending on the date of the proposal. You assist Batman in apprehending the Joker. In this version of the ride, Batman locks your Bat vehicle coordinates onto the Joker, and with a blast of speed out of the Batcave, you're on your way through a dizzying journey of Gotham City. This concept also goes by the title Joker's Wild, a title which is used again and again when the proposal gets trimmed down. Bear in mind, this is a huge proposal, and things are constantly being redrafted. One portion even mentions a monorail around the city, but budget constraints have made the designers a bit more realistic. Still, it's an interesting version of things to come when you see the major part a monorail played in 2005's Batman Begins. In Joker's Wild, pilot the Batcar on the adventure of a lifetime. This is another simulator attraction. Guests enter Wayne Manor and are invited to look around the mansion that Bruce Wayne calls home. Wayne Manor would make an excellent theme for a ride queue, and I assume this is what the designers had in mind. Again, remember, the year is 1992, and themed queues are not the norm. Disneyland's Indiana Jones adventure is still 3 years away, and arguably the first ride to have a fully immersive queue that provided entertainment while you waited. Dueling Dragons at Islands of Adventure is a perfect example of this, and is usually what comes to mind when talk turns to themed queues. Hey, it could happen. Depends on your circle of friends. After you line up into smaller groups, Alfred appears and opens a secret passageway into the Batcave. I'm not sure of this part of the attraction. It's hard to believe they would try to staff the ride with numerous older gents to portray the butler. Most likely, it would be a video screen utilizing a pre-recorded video. Michael Gull would have probably been up for it at the time he was Alfred in the Batman series. Once inside the Batcave, Batman himself appears on a monitor, speaking from inside his Batjet, which you can see parked above. He needs your help locating the Joker, who is preparing to unleash poison gas on the citizens of Gotham once he launches in his Joker Jet. Joker Jet? Anyways, Batman directs you into the Batcar, where you're strapped in and ready to go. Batman will keep in radio contact the whole time in case there's trouble. The Batcave opens up, and the Batcar blasts through a long tunnel with signs pointing the way to Gotham City. The Batcar emerges onto the streets of Gotham and moves wildly through traffic, dodging cars and structures. Suddenly, Joker taxicabs appear, armed with large guns. Bat shields go up just as the guns fire on you. Guns pop up from the hood of the Batcar and fire back, blowing the taxicabs to bits. Before the last enemy is vanquished, the Batcar takes a hit and careens out of control, crashing through a construction site and back onto the roadway, just in time to see the lone taxicab make its way onto the freeway on-ramp. The Batcar gives chase and weaves in and out of busy traffic at an accelerated speed. The Joker taxicab runs up the guardrail and flies over into incoming traffic. The Batcar follows, and in a scene right out of To Live and Die in L.A., the chase scene in that film is fantastic. You should look it up. You chase that last taxi. Up ahead, you can see through the bat shield that the freeway is unfinished. You've got the car cornered, but wait! The Joker taxicab crashes through the road ends here sign and suddenly sprouts wings and jet engines. The Joker taxicab has transformed into the Joker Jet. If you can stay close to the madman, Batman can home in on the position and save the day. The Batcar goes through its own transformation as guide wings move along the hood and a bubble shield envelopes all around. Jet engines whine, and with a massive thrust, you zoom over the end of the freeway and into the sky after the Joker. An aerial dogfight ensues as you chase the Joker Jet through the skyscraper canyons of Gotham City. Hurtling past giant towers, the Joker Jet heads for a massive steel foundry and crashes through an ornate window, sending shards of glass everywhere. The Bat Car emerges from the shower of glass and into a maze of machinery and molten steel pouring into giant vats. Through the steel foundry, you race after the Joker, only to have him outwit you at every turn. The Joker smashes through another window and tries to mask his escape with a cloud of toxic green gas. Raising your bubble shield, you follow and chase the Joker outside towards a giant skyscraper. Up and over the massive building, you race just in time to see the Joker jet race downward into the mouth of a large sewage pipe. Into the darkness you follow, and find yourself in the realm of the Penguin. The Joker jet plunges into the dark, twisting tunnels and raw sewage of the Gotham City underworld. Suddenly, the Penguin car from Batman Returns appears and fires torpedoes. The Batcar tilts and weaves to avoid the oncoming projectiles. You return fire with a concussion torpedo that knocks the Penguin car out of the way. Catching sight of the Joker jet, you follow the clown prince of crime out of the sewer pipe and into the open ocean where it empties. The Joker drops depth charges that you swerve to avoid and continue the chase towards an incoming island. In the moonlight, the island's tallest mountain appears to be shaped like a cat. The Joker jet races into the mouth of the giant stone cat, and when you attempt to follow, the cat shoots a giant blast of fire straight towards you. The Batcar reverses direction and raises the heat shield as it races into the flames. A blinding flash, and suddenly the Batcar is inside a giant cavern inside the stone cat. This is the lair of the Catwoman, and she has left a series of traps to thwart you. Dodging them, you resume your chase of the Joker jet, but soon find the killer clown has the upper hand. He's headed straight for you. All seemed lost, but at the last second, Batman swoops down on the Batjet and captures the Joker jet in his cargo bay. With a hearty thanks, Batman banks past the moon in a scene straight out of the 1989 film and dips his wing to you. The Batcar turns sharply and in one final thrilling moment flies you right back into the Batcave where you started. That sounds pretty amazing, right? It's pretty good, but it's still just a simulator, and as good as Star Tours is, the Indiana Jones adventure is still better in my opinion. Simulators are fun, but there's no substitute for a real, hands-on, authentic experience. Giant sets and real-life fire and fog really put you into the action in a way that simulators can't, which is why the next proposal is so much more interesting. It has all of that and more. This version of The Joker's Wild is different. It's a hanging roller coaster, similar to the Ninja at Six Flags. This time, you'll enter through a warehouse located in the heart of Gotham City, far from Wayne Manor. The outside is weather-beaten and run down, a sharp contrast to the ultra-modern inside that's full of laboratory equipment and state-of-the-art crime-fighting equipment. This is Batman's secret base in the city, an extension of the Batcave, if you will. You've arrived just in time. The Joker has escaped from Arkham, and Batman needs your help. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Batman always needs my help. Batman informs you that the Joker is running amok in the city, and Batman can't be everywhere at once to find him. That's where you come in. You'll board one of the sleek Batwing gliders and canvass the city in aid of the Dark Knight. These are the Batwing vehicles that appear in the map drawing from the first installment. They again add a real energy to the whole area. Not to mention that when Batman asks you to save the citizens of Gotham City, you'll find that he means the other guests in the actual theme park you're in, not a simulated version on a screen. This adds a reality to the entire affair that can't be beat. Once you're safely strapped into your Batwing glider, you'll blast out into the skies of Gotham City and through a series of narrow buildings and streets emerging into the theme park itself. People shop and dine while you zoom overhead, keeping them safe. In and out of buildings, the Batwing gliders race around hairpin turns and narrowly miss obstacles. The danger is real, but there's no sign of the Joker. Suddenly, you round a corner to find a large gaping Joker head dead ahead as the sound of his maniacal laughter fills the air. Up ahead, two giant trick flowers squirt you just as you zoom into the mouth of the large cutout Joker. A sign reads, "Welcome to Jokerland." This is the dark ride portion of the attraction, and it's really nicely themed. At the time of this proposal, there weren't very many coasters themed to this level. Disney's Space Mountain is the only attraction that compares to this time frame. In the ensuing years, some nicely themed coasters have emerged, such as The Mummy's Revenge and Expedition Everest at Disney World. But back in 1992, this was very cutting edge. Entering Jokerland, you find yourself in a strange, bizarre world that only the twisted mind of the Joker could create. The entire area is made to look as if it is upside down. The conceptual drawing for this, which is by Neil Adams, confused the heck out of me initially. I turned it this way and that way before I realized what they were aiming for. I can only imagine how stellar this would have been in the actual park. If you go to Blastoff Comics and search No Batman is an Island Part 5, there's an actual clickable picture of this upside down portion of the ride, and it is amazing. Strange and surreal items float within a black void and act as distractions to the large and lethal traps that spring out of nowhere. Hideous laughter echoes all around as giant spike walls loom up and threaten to impale you. The Batwing glider dodges and weaves to keep you out of harm's way. Batman himself appears on the tracks above. This looks amazing in the drawings. Go check them out. At last, he shows you the way out, but the danger is not over. For once the harsh rays of the sun meet your eyes, you're staring down the largest high-speed drop in the ride. You've left the dark ride portion and entered the no-holds-barred roller coaster portion of the attraction, and it does not disappoint. Weaving in and out, dips and drops, avoiding a Gotham Works truck until the Batwing glider finally zooms you back into the warehouse you started in. Batman thanks you for helping him, and it's on to the souvenir photo stand, gift shop, and ultimately back onto the streets of Gotham, where you can relive your adventure over and over while you watch other Batwing gliders zoom all about their never-ending quest for justice. Man, how is that for a Batman roller coaster? It sure beats the mildly themed ones at the Six Flags parks. With elaborate theming, a coherent storyline, and a chance to actually help Batman fight crime, these rides had it all. It's a shame they never saw the light of day, and an even bigger shame they spent the last 16 or more years hiding in a stack of forgotten papers, waiting to see the world. All right, come back next time for a peek at the Batman-themed shows that were dreamed up for this attraction, this Islands of Adventure. You will not believe the scale. They are truly massive. Hey, that'll do it for this installment of the never-before-seen Batman theme park. Again, go to Blastoff Comics and check out No Batman is an Island. There are numerous articles. You can even skip ahead and find out what I'm going to say on the next episode. These are a lot of fun, and thanks to Scott Tipton for prompting these articles way back in the day. They're just as fresh now as when I wrote them, because Batman is just as popular as he was, and the fact that we never got to ride these rides or shop in these shops or watch these shows is a crime. It's a crime big enough for the Joker, if I may say so myself. So, again, go to Blastoff Comics, check them out. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff Tucker, and this is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?